Hello Curious! Just when you think that nothing could top the madness of 2020 and when most people hope all that is behind us now and that we can relax, 2021 has truly started off with a bang. Trump supporters had gathered outside the Capitol as members of Congress met in order to debate objections with regards to Electoral College. What ensued were scenes that seemed almost as if out of some action movie or a TV show when protesters stormed the building, something that has not been achieved since 1814. But what exactly happened? What did Donald Trump say to his supporters? Who were the people involved? How did others react to the news? And did their actions change anything? Stay with us until the very end to find out all the news with regards to it. But before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and the subscription button so you don't miss any of our videos. While over at Capitol, members of Congress were to meet, outside the White House, Trump supporters gathered for what was called a Save America rally, where Trump was set to speak to them. Tensions had been at an all-time high with the election results, with many people calling for a recount in several states, not satisfied with the results. Before the 45th President of the United States took to the stage, the crowds, which were gathered in thousands, were treated to speeches by his two sons and Rudy Giuliani. Ever since the election results were called, Trump has questioned the validity of the votes, which in the past weeks had been well documented on his Twitter account. Taking to the stage to address his supporters, he said, "We will never concede." The crowd began chanting, "Fight for Trump," as he told them that their voices will not be silenced. With his speech, the event went as far as to attack his own party members by stating that those who are not voting to object to Biden's win are weak. He continued his speech talking about Congress and pointing out that it was up to them now to confront the, and we quote, "assault on our democracy." Donald would also go as far as to say, "After this, we're going to walk down there and I'll be there with you." And seeing what followed, many took his call to action seriously, as afterwards, the crowds had moved from outside the White House towards the Capitol, which, upon the number of protesters growing and clashes breaking out between them and Capitol Police, has been put on lockdown. However, it all soon escalated. Media first began reporting on clashes between protesters and the police, and that a temporary barrier that had been specially put in place was destroyed. According to reports by the New York Times, as police tried to disperse the crowds, they were heard shouting, "This is our house," and the large crowd, which was growing by the minute, was heard chanting 1776, which most likely was in reference to the year that the Declaration of Independence was signed. But then right after, things took a turn for the worse, as reports came that there were people with weapons and that they had attempted to storm the building. As the tension rose among those gathered, and as windows were broken and they attempted to break down the doors, according to the BBC, police were forced to use tear gas. In the end, the crowd succeeded in making their ways inside. Here it is worth mentioning that while in the past there had been many attempts to attack the building or politicians, the last time an attack on a similar scale had happened was in 1814, as the War of 1812 had raged, and the invading British troops marched into Washington and set fire to the Capitol, the President's Mansion, and other landmarks. As things escalated, DC Mayor Muriel Bowser had ordered a citywide curfew beginning at 18 o'clock EST, and Donald Trump took to his Twitter asking the protesters to support Capitol Police and law enforcement, adding that they are on the side of their country. He also urged the crowds to stay peaceful. However, by then, many had already gotten inside the building. As the crowds got in, this prompted lawmakers to flee to safety during the important vote on the presidential elections. However, Senator Jeff Merkley had pointed out on his Twitter that the Electoral College ballots were rescued from the Senate floor. He claimed that had the floor staff not grabbed them, they would have surely been burned by the mob. Though while they had no chance to get their hands on the ballots, it did not stop those inside from causing further damage, most of which has been documented on camera. One of the most shared photos is of an unidentified protester who was seen wearing a Trump hat and was seen walking with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's podium in his hands, all while smiling and waving at the camera. And it seems where Pelosi is concerned, the crowds weren't fans of hers, as Nancy's office was one of the places that the crowds managed to get into. According to reports by the New York Times, they had taken over the office, turned the tables upside down, ripped down pictures, and removed a sign that was spotted by the entrance, and according to the publication, they took it as a trophy. Some of the protesters had spoken to the media to talk about what they had done. One of them was Richard Barnett from Arkansas, who posed for the New York Times, holding a note that he had taken from Pelosi's office. However, the 60-year-old said that he did not steal it as, and we quote, "he left a quarter on her desk." In an interview with the publication, he happily bragged about how he had left her a nasty note and put his feet up on her desk, which had also been documented on camera. According to the report, while breaking into the office, the crowds were shouting, "Get her out," and "Not our speaker," when Nancy was concerned. However, the press also fell victims to the protesters outside. Outside the Capitol, a group of Associated Press reporters was chased away from their equipment, which the angry crowd then proceeded to try and destroy. Paul McLeod, a journalist for BuzzFeed Politics, took to his Twitter account to share photos of the trashed equipment and added that a man in the crowd had yelled, "We are the news now," and that it looked like they had planned planned to set it on fire. Though one of the people who stood out the most during the protest was a shirtless tattooed man wearing a horned furry hat, face paint and carrying a megaphone. Metro UK, as well as several other publications, have identified him as 32-year-old Jake Angeli, who is also believed to be known as Q Shaman, a QAnon conspiracy influencer. They added that in the past he has used to promote himself as a singer and actor, but has since become a figure at right-wing rallies while dressed in his eccentric outfit. The organization QAnon is a far-right group. Many journalists and senators who were inside the Capitol had taken to their Twitter, posting that they were asked to evacuate and were given gas masks to wear as a safety precaution. And where Twitter and social media are concerned, it seems that they had taken action against Trump, as Twitter banned him for 12 hours and Facebook for 24. This came after he had posted a minute-long video to his pages in which he said, "This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So, go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You've seen the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace." In it, he did not condemn the actions of the mob, but it seemed as if he expressed his fondness for them. In response to this, the platform Twitter deleted 3 of his posts and locked his account, and stated that if the tweets are not removed, they will keep his account locked. Though this is not the first time that this has happened, as during election day, many of his tweets had been deleted by the platform. Though sadly, this altercation had not ended without any tragedies. According to reports by USA Today, 4 people had lost their lives. One incident happened inside the building as a woman tried to enter the House chamber, according to Metropolitan Police Chief. According to the Washington Post, the woman has been identified as a 35-year-old Air Force veteran. The other 3 incidents took place around the Capitol grounds. USA Today had also published that 52 people had been arrested, however the number could change as time goes on. 14 police officers were reportedly injured, and according to reports, the FBI will open an investigation into the entire incident. Many celebrities had taken to their social media to speak out about these attacks. Khloe Kardashian had taken to her Facebook to share photos from the storming of the building with the caption, "The epitome of white privilege. How disturbing. I am sick to my stomach." Actor Mark Ruffalo, who is known for his activism, took to his social media sharing a link to a petition which called for the immediate impeachment of Trump. Singer Demi Lovato, like many other people online, had pointed out that had this been something that Black Lives Matter protesters had done, the situation would have been much different. Some, like American singer Trey Songz, had taken a more humorous approach to the matter by sharing a funny meme to his page. Though despite what the crowds were protesting against, Vice President Mike Pence has announced that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had won the election and will be sworn into office as the 46th President of the United States on the 20th of January. So curious, what do you think about what happened at Capitol Hill? Do you believe that the protesters went too far? What are your thoughts on Donald Trump's words? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos.